Today we're going to share how to get the headliner out, how to restore it, and how to put it back in. I will link good reference videos and what did work well, and what didn't work well for me. I'm going to call out mistakes I made, like cutting too much material from around the sunroof and using glue that is strong, but dries too fast, creases I made, and more. If I'm being honest, I think this is a good video to watch on the procedure of getting the headliner out, and then I recommend taking the headliner to a professional shop to have them put the new fabric on, because DIYing the headliner fabric restoration can be a difficult job to get perfect. I will share some tips on the restoration itself if you're interested in taking a stab at it. Easy. There are clips that hold in. You don't want to just yank it down. I got the left side loose very scientifically by giving it a firm tug down rather than pulling from one side. Put actually a hand in the light hole to spread the force out. And there are these pressure clips that get pulled out. Another two in the back that want to come out. There we go. One last one in the corner. You can see how many I broke or didn't break. So I got one of these to slide out. Using more force than one is comfortable. 25 inside of here. I recommend one of these guys, a socket set with an extension and a T30. So this one is easy. When that comes out, that's easy. Feels like I'm more likely to break the plastic by messing with these clips than actually just yanking them down. So let's yank them down. I does not want to budge. Oh, that was a tough one. So grabbing from the right side helps. They're all behind there, so basically you have to just yank. I don't like that feeling. Getting hands under the right side and the left. Oh, and there's an airbag there. Oh, that's scary. But we did it. Plastic is intact. Plastic is intact. Plastic intact. Aha, one of them wanted to stay in. From the inside, this is the clip stuck inside that holds against the plastic. If your clips get stuck, you can use a thin needle nose pliers to grab them from both sides and yank them out this way. Sound like breaking plastic? No. Nice. Only one got stuck inside. Just use a fingernail. No, 225. I'm gonna pull it back instead of inserting pry tools because I don't want to explode the airbag. And then you just wiggle it out. Not bad at all. What it looks like with the A pillar trim removed. And please note, observe that when reinserting, it's going to be just inside this metal tab to lock it in place. How these are held in, both of these plastic things damaged my A pillar trim ever so slightly. It's these circular plastic pieces that I will now remove. And if you do this too many times, for now we can just reinsert it. But if you do it too many times, you might end up breaking your A pillar trim plastic. But I think this is the second time in the lifetime of the vehicle it's come off, so the plastic is still, luckily, good. I had a previous microphone installation here. Inserted plastic, removed from there. Two plastic white thingies, that's it. One, and then grab by the back of it. Not too bad. you can put your finger in the holes here, and that lets you release the headliner clips. You pull it down a little bit. And now that gives us clearance we need to work on the stuff. And when we need to, we just push these two back up. Again, there are two holes here. We just push our finger through. On the right side, when the headliner is black thing, second hole from the right, you feel around for a little plastic thingy. You push on it, and that releases the headliner. And I've done the other on this side, putting the finger through. Okay, well that will give us the clearance we need to work on these. Make sure you open the sunroof. Helps to close the little door right away, because it helps the screw not fall out. Loose. There we go. And there we go. The second one was easier. Pushing down and wiggle out. There we go. Next, we're going to remove this control. There are two T20s in here. You can then pop out the lights and remove the other two screws. So the light cover pops out, like so. Careful, these light bulbs are hot. And inside the lights are two more Torx screws. Oh, there we go. On the left and right of the lights are more T Torx. And they are T20. With that, if we get our fingernails under this top part, it should pop out and let us finagle this control module out of place. Careful, there's a wire here at the front and a wire at the back. 3 connectors, so 1. Out of the way. Connector 2 also. Let's just push down on it and try and get the connector out. You just push down on the top of the brown connector and on the top of this little black one connected to remove this wiring. This wasn't shown anywhere. This wasn't shown anywhere, so showing that now. Now the sunroof control module seems more involved. Once we get those, it frees it up for us to take it out. Okay. All it needed was some, looks like it was corroded into it. These green spots and possibly glued in. Where those are numbers. Oh, finally. Congratulations. Ink on the bottom, not on the top part. To remove the driver's side visor, let's get it out of the way. And under this clip, there should be a Torx screw. I'm going to get this clip down. T25. There's also a T25 Torx screw on the other side that we got to, and that's also T25. Eventually comes loose and there's a T25. And when we're ready, we'll take the visors down, but not yet, because there's a wire inside. That screw's staying in there. No big deal. Want to come out? Doesn't want to come out. Pop it back in for now. This one just releases, I believe. There we go. This one you can rotate and it should release as well. There we go. The visor hanging down. Here's where that wiring lives. So we're disconnecting this connector. These are a little annoying to get out, but to release the connector, The angle's a little bit difficult, but you have to, with the other one attached, you bend this back with your fingernail as hard as you can. Then the one attached to the car should slip out. Got the connector undone. Now we're gonna get in and disconnect the sunroof clips. 4 in the back, 3 on each side and 4 in the front. We get in, get a small flathead screwdriver. Now if we pull down, we can expose a slight gap here, which reveal the metal clasps. Pulling down on this exposes, and basically have to get it right under it. It's bending this metal bracket ever so slightly back. You can stick a flathead looking for them, insert horizontally, press down, done. One more here, done. Under the sunroof is a little trickier. Basically, I'm inserting it like this and then twisting it. Why am I telling you how I'm doing it? Close to the sunroof part, just put it in between this black plastic. Twist a little. I don't see any clips here. I don't see any clips. There we go. I found a clip here. I got it on the bracket. Twisty motion. It's almost off. Basically off. Ah, there's a clip here. So get it under the clip here. Twist. It pops right out. Boom. There's a clip there. Got it. Clip there. Clip here. Got it. And before this step, I advise clipping it in the back, otherwise it's going to fall off basically. I'm going to clip it on in the back. Cool. So now I don't know if you can see, it's coming off the front. There's a connector. All you do is you pull on the orange thing to pop it out. Okay, so the connector basically 2 tabs on the side and then the headliner comes down. And then with your handy dandy hot helper. All right. This should be a video of its own, most likely on my channel, but to be honest, again, this video is probably not the best reference for how to ideally restore your headliner. It's really easy to remove the sunroof clips, so once you have most of the fabric off, you remove this tape. And in the back here, you have to kind of push it into for it to release. In case you're wondering what that black tape that I removed was, that prevents vibration noises. So because I removed mine and never reinstalled it, that black tape on the right side, I now have a rattling. So I recommend reinstalling soft black tape over the clips. There we go. And with that, it should release. Some of the clips are tougher than the others. Now we just make our way around the perimeter, being careful not to damage the clips. You technically can bend them back into place when you're reinstalling them, but it's probably better to replace them if you can find the part number, and I'll try and include the part number in the description. You should have 15 in total when you're done, and again I recommend replacing them because not all mine clipped back into place, didn't bend it back into place, and I had a rattle. You should be holding 15 clips in your hand after you've done this. Put them in a safe spot so you don't forget. With the old fabric completely removed, but the foam still on the fiberglass material of the headliner, you should get a harder, more coarser brush and basically cover the entire thing to get the old foam off. This is sped up significantly, but this took a while. I gathered up all the foam using a vacuum cleaner and also air blowing it outside. If you have an air compressor and air gun handle, but no big deal, you can just use a vacuum cleaner. And this is a bit tricky around the bends, especially where the handles go. What also worked pretty well, in addition to a coarse brush, is one of these attachments with a hex bit on the end and a soft, gentle brush. You want to be careful not to damage the headliner material too much though. Coverall, spray adhesive. This to cover your face, and also breathing and respiratory protection. And gloves as well. The restoration is the part I really really messed up. First you lay it out the way it's supposed to go with the foam facing down, and then you're supposed to have the cylinder in the middle, bend it over halfway, spray a little bit, and then get it down. But unfortunately I had significant issues with restoring the headliner because my glue dried way too fast, and so I couldn't perfectly get it. Then with the bends and everything, I was trying to get it up and in. I'm going to put some great videos on installing a headliner under this chapter linked in the description because they do a much better job of explaining it. But yeah, it's going to be really hard to get the headliner perfectly in place with glue that dries too fast, especially around those bends, and avoiding foam and creases. I had to scrap my first headliner that was around $100 to be OEM. Then I gave up and used a metal wire brush to get all the new foam off, and I got a new replacement headliner from Hobby Lobby for $30 instead of a $100 OEM looking online option. Then with a renewed fervor, glued smaller spots with overlapping patterns, and incrementally installed the headliner to compensate for the quick drying of the glue. I do not recommend that 90 glue that I showed earlier, and will link what I think are better options in the description to use so that they don't dry too fast. And basically I worked it in and accepted the fact that this headliner installation will be imperfect. Less than perfect. This one's real good because of all the forms. Happens. Kind of, it is what it is. And you can see some of the imperfections that happen because all the bends here. But again, see the link to videos for how to fix and overlap and install everything. And careful not to cut too much material from around the sunroof here, because there's actually a lip that goes up. So I cut into those corners and then had to glue corner pieces to cover that because I wasn't about to do a third headliner. Another mistake I made is cutting the holes too big for the passenger lights in the middle of the headliner, so don't cut those too big using an X-Acto knife. Once everything dries, my glue dried super quick, we put the headliner in, and it significantly helps to lower the front seats to maneuver it back into place. We clip in the sunroof clips at the front and the plastic clips at the back, and that holds it in position to reinstall all of the other things, assuming your front sunroof clips hold well. Don't forget to admire your hard work and accomplishment. So it could be better, could be worse in a couple of spots. Particularly in the middle it's good, but then you can tell it's a DIY job. In hindsight, I should probably take it to an upholstery place. I especially made a mistake in the sunroof corners, so I'm going to try and fix that. Also, the clips don't fully reattach here in the back, so it hangs a little. That's fun. So I may want to actually, in hindsight, buy new clips here. But it looks great. There's no sagging from the sides here, which is a huge relief every time you open and close the doors now. That's real nice. You can't really see the messed up part in the front here. If you look at this, there are wrinkles here and there. So in hindsight, I would maybe recommend taking this to an upholstery shop. Maybe they'll do a better job, especially with all the curves in the middle. The curves made this especially difficult to not fold the headliner in certain places. If my camera wants to focus today. But yeah, okay, let's reinstall. And here is the mistake you want to avoid of not cutting too much passenger light material. You want to cut not around the perimeter of the fiberglass opening, but significantly less, and fold the headliner material in here. To reinstall this B-pillar trim, you want to make sure basically all the clips are in place. So there's 1, 2. And it's easy, you put it just relatively into position. Over this, you can look at the clips where they roughly align. It goes over the thing so that it aligns with the headliner. Okay, I want to make sure it goes around the stuff like so. Relatively in position. And then you want to make sure it's pulled over the white plastic on this side as well. And then sometimes it won't align. It won't go over this thing.
So you have to use a super specialized, expensive tool to work it back over. And then the Torx, and you're done at the top. And now for the C pillar trim. There is a Torx hole here, and basically the two clips on the sides are small and metal, unlike the other ones. They go on the sides here, on two, and then you put it over the side. And then the bottom plastic goes inside. Oh, the headliner. I think, so let's do this side first. There we go. And then this side. And then it aligns with this hole. There we go, under the airbag thing.
For reinstalling the visors, we first fish that cable through the hole, then when it's fished through, reinstall that cable, and the visors should clip back into place, and then the Torx screws go back in. You might have to maneuver them a bit around on the outside perimeter clip things, because they have to be maneuvered in, otherwise they don't fit. The back of the control module goes in first, and it's on a pivot. Then once we connect everything, we just pivot it back in. There are 4 Torx screws to reinstall, 2 under the light module and 2 in the sunglass holder. The headliner handles were mostly straightforward, but it was a little bit arduous slash tedious slash annoying slash not picking 2 negative words, but with the little plastic doors that open, it was a little annoying with the door handles trying to close while you're screwing it in. One of the screws slash bolts gave me difficulty, and doing this by hand took forever, even though you're not supposed to technically use power tools. But be patient and you'll get it.
Most of the Torx are 225. This one's 230. Black box goes towards the front. Light connector has to be on top because the channel is very specifically routed. On the first try, the D-pillar trim might seem really hard, but the black metal thing goes towards the top. And after wrestling with it for a bit, I found that the easiest thing to do is to take these 2 metal clips, make sure they're as far back as they go, and insert them first. Why is this challenging? Because it feels like the D-pillar trim like warps into position. Then you work it in from the top here. Aligning the black metal piece next along the window edge, pressing it in and such. Now you work your way along here, making sure not to pinch anything. Push the clips in, and you're done. This is much easier than what I had on that side with hydraulic lines and stuff. And it does not like perfectly seat on the side, but there we go. And don't forget the Torx screw here. At the bottom, so you just kind of carefully work its way in, starting at the bottom, and then try and align. Make sure the tube is in position, the hose. The white points are a visual reference of where it should end up.
So no matter what I did, I could not get the A pillar trim to perfectly seat on the left without leaving out the middle white clip. So that's what I did, and I don't have any rattles or squeaks, and it holds still very well because it holds at the bottom and using the top clip and the top Torx. And it might help to pull this plastic side covers with the rubber gasket on the side that covers the fuse box on the left and removing some plastic trim there in the middle, because otherwise the bottoms might not seat perfectly if you don't remove the plastic trim under the plastic covers. So that's what I'm seeing doing on the right hand side here. But once you get that plastic trim off, that plastic trim might break. Once you get it off, it seats perfectly, everything goes back in. Finished result.
Could be better, but could be worse. Boom.
Overall, this was definitely a challenging and a great project for learning. I went from being a guy who hadn't disconnected clips before in the Cayenne to a guy who knew how to restore a headliner, more or less. If I had to do it again, I would definitely do a lot better and would know what to look out for related to doing all the cuts and folds on the headliner. I would get a glue that dries much slower to give me a chance to work the folds out. However, it would still be imperfect because the headliners only have perfect cutouts out the factory. I sincerely thank you for watching. Hope this helped. Hope you tune in to the channel again. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.